again the difference between acid reflux and the other reflux with the long name that I can't pronounce.
Sure.
And in the difference do they both affect? I know acid reflux is dangerous for your esophagus. Are they the same that way?
They're similar but different. So obviously they both start from the stomach. Now the traditional view of reflux is gastroesophageal reflux. This is where you have regurgitation of your gastric juices up. It goes beyond the lower esophageal sphincter, and by irritating the lower esophagus, it causes precancerous changes. So that's the big fear, Barrett's esophagitis. And in most cases, you're going to feel it: indigestion, heartburn, pain, bloating, things like that. Whereas laryngopharyngeal reflux, it's like throat voice box reflux, is a totally different kind of reflux where in most cases you don't have to feel anything here, and all you feel are throat symptoms. So all the typical mucousy symptoms, throat clearing, post-nasal drip, coughing, hoarseness. In fact, they've shown that in most cases, whenever you have a chronic cough that lasts for more than a couple of weeks, it's usually due to reflux. Or any kind of throat problem that lasts for more than a week or two, it's usually from reflux. And in most cases, for both conditions, we give you anti-reflux medications, right? Like Prilosec, Pepcid, Zantac, Nexium, those kind of things. And they work for the most part, but not completely. Have you experienced that? They work to various degrees. And what you have to understand is that these acid reflux medicines do nothing for reflux. They're not designed to. What it does is it suppresses the acid secretion properties in your stomach, so you make less acid. But let's say you stop breathing and you suck up the juices, those medicines don't do anything to prevent the juices from coming up, right? And remember I told you it also has bile, digestive enzymes and bacteria, and just less acidic stomach juices. So, but it's still very caustic to the very sensitive tissues in your throat and your nose.
Is the one that affects your throat, is that less dangerous to your esophagus? Or?
The theory behind the throat reflux is that everyone has a normal amount of reflux that comes up. When it becomes excessive to this level, that's gastroesophageal reflux. But if you take normal amounts here that come up into the throat, typically when you have throat reflux, you tend not to have as much.
I got the symptoms that are in the throat. Mm-hmm. They're always talking about heartburn, which I never have.
Right.
I always wondered why that's so this must be why.
Right. And they've done studies showing that when we first learned about this, everyone jumped on the bandwagon. We started actually doing the esophagoscopies ourselves. We had these flexible cameras that go into the esophagus. And we thought, well, maybe we'd find something here, but in most cases we didn't find anything. Whereas the stomach doctors, when they looked for the routine gastroesophageal reflux, they were finding a lot more bad things going on here. And so in most cases, I mean, yes, there's always that slightly higher chance that there could be something going on. But in most cases, when you look, because of their stomach problems, there's nothing there. Wait a minute.
Should we stay away from dairy? And then more recently, I hear a lot of people talk about gluten. What foods and drinks should we stay away from, in addition to not eating before midnight? I mean,
to repeat the question, what particular types of foods should we stay away from? Dairy, wheat, gluten, milk products. That's such a huge controversial issue. And even with my own family, we have these similar questions that come up. But basically, for some unknown reason, modern humans are becoming extra sensitive to everything, right? Allergies, sensitivities, to normal things that normally shouldn't bother you, even to other people. So for some people, you're going to be sensitive to milk products, for example. For some people, it's going to be gluten, so that's why also celiac sprue is a very big condition these days. For some people, it's your typical allergies. Some people, it's weather changes. For many people, it's a combination of everything. So this is why you have to be mindful of how you feel whenever you eat something. So if you, let's say you eat a lot of wheat products that has gluten, and you're having all these various symptoms, then just do an experiment and stop and see what happens. And the same thing with milk products. I think there was a New York Times piece about that really column by O'Connor, and I think he did a piece on milk products and mucus, and I think objectively there wasn't any strong connection between the two. But people swear by it, and if you stop milk products and you feel better, you can't argue with that. Yes.
What this lady was saying, the throat congestion. I do notice that if I do have a little snack at about an hour before I go to sleep, that happens. But if I kind of sit up and sleep, it's okay. So if I really stop eating 3 hours before, do you think that is the first thing I should try?
Absolutely, yeah. So that goes along with what I'm saying, that even if you eat a tiny little snack, your stomach's going to produce all this extra acid.
Yeah, I do have this little,
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the medications you're suggesting though for this here or nothing?
Well, initially I don't suggest medications. Yeah, I suggest not eating late. Because that's usually the most common reason, especially in New York City. People come home late, or they have a long commute, or people get hungry. Also, you have to realize that when you have a sleep breathing problem, whether it's from sleep apnea or insomnia or for whatever reason, not sleeping well also promotes weight gain and hunger. So hormonally, that's what happens.
I'm a side sleeper, and it's when I go to lie down and go to sleep, the one side fills up and then you can't breathe and you have to turn over the other side and drain that. And so even with my CPAP, I'm having those issues. I also have the deviated septum and the enlarged turbinates. So based on your presentation, if I decide to have those 2 surgeries, it should help with the breathing better, and I might then be more compliant with my CPAP and overall health and well-being. All right, I just want to make sure I got A plus B equals C. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Well, I can handle that.
And using the CPAP machine?
Sorry?
Is there any connection between using the CPAP machine and vertigo?
I've heard that because I'm always on the internet forums. I'm trying to see what people are asking. I've seen that question a couple of times. Your question is, does CPAP cause vertigo? Or sleep apnea and vertigo?
No, the CPAP machine.
Okay. CPAP, even though it's a very good device for sleep apnea, it's still an intervention. It's invasive to a certain degree. And so when it changes the physiology suddenly, your brain has to adjust and accommodate, and sometimes it just gets confused. And so typically all these side effects that you get from initial CPAP use, it gets better the longer you use it, because you get acclimated. But if the problem doesn't go away, then you have to look at what may be causing it. Yeah, but so are you still using the CPAP?
Yes.
Okay, then that means it just was a temporary effect. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about that. Yes?
Do you recommend sleeping on a wedge or raising the head of the bed up to reduce any sort of reflux or that type of thing?
No, that is the recommendation for GERD, gastroesophageal reflux, so propping up the bed, putting telephone books underneath the head of the bed, and wedges. And yes, that helps if it's a passive form of reflux. But what's happening in apneas is that it's an active form of reflux. So yes, you're kind of taking away the effect of gravity by sleeping a little bit inclined, but when you stop breathing, these are tremendous pressures, these negative pressures in your throat that can literally just overcome any kind of wedges or anti-gravity effects. So it's going to come up. So, but the bottom line is experiment. Everyone's different. We can only make recommendations based on averages, but with humans, everyone's different. So, and the rule of thumb is, it's normal to be abnormal. So, if you're not sure about what to do, you have to experiment and just kind of do the experiment on your own to see what works and what doesn't work.